Before I welcome in our special guest, I want to share a couple things. First and foremost, check the link in the show notes. If you are listening throughout this episode and you're like, I'm curious about what root cause therapy is, or I'm ready to book a session, or I just want to learn more, or I want to talk to Jenna before, committing to what can I expect. So grab the link in the show notes, naturallyempoweredliving.com/root-cause-therapy. And also, if you're curious about becoming a root cause therapy practitioner, if you are in that business capacity, if you're in that space to add this modality to your tool set, grab that link in the show notes too. It is an affiliate link, so I will be able to get a kickback or a commission if you do choose to enroll in the root cause therapy program. However, I, of course, just have to say that. But it is a life-changing certification that has brought me personally so much growth and change and evolution and awareness, self-awareness, but also, the lives that I am impacting and bringing this modality into their lives. It is truly, this is it. This is such a game changer. So grab the link in the show notes, both links in the show notes. If you are curious to learn more about booking a session with me, naturallyempoweredliving.com/root-cause-therapy. Or if you're curious about becoming a practitioner yourself, those links are in the show notes. So now, I need to share these heart-centered words. From Lori, she wrote, "The healing that I experienced in my sessions with Jenna has been life-changing. I have suffered for most of my life from physical pain, depression, addiction, and complex developmental traumas. I have done other therapies in the past to help resolve my issues, but none have been as effective as root cause therapy. During my sessions, we released deeply rooted, unprocessed emotions that have caused me much suffering throughout my life. In some cases, I was aware of things that had happened to me, but didn't realize that I was never able to process the emotions, perpetuating my suffering. Now, my body feels much more relaxed and it's hardly in any pain at all, allowing me to even sleep better. I feel more present with my children and my pet. I have greater focus on my responsibilities and goals in both my personal and professional life. Jenna really has the gift of creating space for people to feel and heal. The breakthroughs were very profound, and I feel this healing is transforming me on an emotional, mental, and physical level. I feel like my nervous system has been rewired." And I'm going to leave it at that. Let's dive into the episode. Thank you, Lori. Hey, beautiful. Welcome to Naturally Empowered Living, your safe space to guiding you on your unapologetic self-awakening journey. This is your weekly sanctuary for waking up from autopilot and transforming the way you approach life through the power of meditation, energetics, and root cause therapy. It is my mission to help you heal unprocessed emotions and release stuck energies by alchemizing your struggle cycles into opportunities for deep self-love, awareness, trust, and connection, to return to your innate essence of being, stepping back into your energy of alignment. Because here, we honor all parts of ourselves, the messy and the magic, the shadows and the light, embodying all parts that make you, you. So if you are ready to get to the root of cultivating real change, get cozy, grab your journal and maybe favorite crystals, and let's discover our power within together. Hey loves! Today we have a very special guest on the show. This is a new type of episode that I'm bringing to Naturally Empowered Living, where I will actually be bringing in people who I have worked with to have them share their stories before they started working with me, as well as their journeys through to the present time. Now, as this is a completely different type of episode that we have never really had on this show, I believe it warrants a special and additional kind of disclaimer. These episodes are a space for people to share their unique stories and their journeys through life, as much or as little, as deep or as surface level as they choose to. This is something I cannot script nor direct on how they are going to communicate, on what they feel comfortable in sharing in this space. So this is your discretion to be aware that we all have different stories and experiences and beliefs. And these stories shared by those who come on this show are ones to be honored in their own way, as well as held in a respected container because they had the courage to share in the first place. So please honor and respect our guests, and please honor and respect yourself. Each story is our own. Thank you. Now let's dive in. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of the Naturally Empowered Living podcast. This is your host, Jenna Smith, And today we are going to experience something totally new, yet so profound. I don't even have words on the impact of what these types of episodes are going to bring to this show. This is the first episode where I bring a guest on with me to chit chat and someone that has received some sort of healing session from me. It is so wild that this actually, Lori, I haven't even told you this. This has been a goal of mine for a while. Like when I used to have like online courses and memberships, I wanted to bring my students on the podcast to share their transformation and their story, and I just never followed through with it. And this beautiful woman, Lori, brought it up to me. And she's like, "Oh, if you ever want me on your podcast." I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, and then I had like all these downloads and these memories came flashing in, and I was like, "Yes, you read my mind." So today, I have the honor of welcoming Lori on the show, who has received 3 root cause therapy sessions from me within both of our certifications for our certification practice. And she's going to share her experience and the divine transformation journey that she is on. So before I pass over the mic to her, I do just want to give a little rundown of, the type of session that she did receive and what actually it is. So again, Lori received 3 root cause therapy sessions from me. And without spoiling her journey, because that is a story for her to tell, the impact, it does build on, from one session to another, to another, to another. So she had 3 sessions, and that is completely remarkable. Root cause therapy is defined as it's a trauma healing modality. It facilitates deep, lasting healing by actually going into the subconscious root causes of our emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual issues, if you will. And rather than focusing solely on symptoms or like what we're outwardly expressing, it taps into the intuition, the subconscious, the memories, our body's intelligence to actually uncover and release these trapped emotions and these stuck energies, to rewire to the neuroplasticity of it, to rewire the limiting beliefs, promote that conscious awareness for lasting healing. So it's a somatic based practice, and it helps release and process these unprocessed emotions that really give us relief from patterns and behaviors and the symptoms that we experience for possibly decades and the majority of our lives. And it allows for permanent, deeper change. So, Lori, that was a very long introduction, but I'm so excited to pass over the mic to you. Can you share a little bit about what brought you into root cause therapy? Just what were you hoping to address in our sessions together with you receiving?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And when I saw that you had a podcast, I was like, ooh, yay. Maybe she'll have me on as a guest. So I've just to kind of rewind from the beginning.
Yeah.
I've suffered pretty much most of my life with some sort of physical pain and or emotional distress, depression, anxiety, so far back that I can even remember being repeatedly sick as a kid, always having something hurting on me. And I just can't remember a time in my life when I actually ever felt normal or good. Okay. So I just kind of got used to feeling like this and just thought that this was my normal. And I had been to doctors and mental health therapists. I've tried all sorts of different healing modalities and nothing ever stuck.
Mhm.
Um, I might get temporary relief out of having some body work or going to the chiropractor or changing my diet, that kind of stuff, but nothing ever had any real long lasting relief. I tend to refer to my pain as shape shifting. Okay, so for a while it might be over on this side of the body, and then next thing you know, it's over here and it feels like this. And it's just kind of like it morphs into different feelings and sensations and intensities without throughout my body. Same thing with the emotional stuff. It was always just kind of like this morphosizing, if that's a word,
We're
morphosizing
going with it.
like just thing. And no doctor could ever figure me out. No, I was um I had a MRI on my brain when my youngest daughter was born, which was 23 years ago. And they had been suspecting that I might have some kind of a brain tumor or something. And well, lo and behold, they found nothing. And so I just kind of forgot about it and like, this is just my life. So years go on and I keep struggling through the same symptoms over and over. And so I finally just decided I'm going to become a massage therapist so that I can help other people like me because I thought maybe I wasn't fulfilling my life's purpose or something. And that was like my punishment for not being a good person. I don't know. Through that, I found that and I'm still a massage therapist. I've been a massage therapist for 14 years. I enjoy helping people. But at the same time, I truly do believe to some level that it is self-torture because it's hard on my body, on a body that was already not well. So, about 4 years ago, I received a body work session of my own. And the next morning, I woke up and I couldn't move. Um, when I say I couldn't move, I was in so much pain that like my bone marrow hurt. It was that deep. What it felt like was that my nervous system was literally like malfunctioning. I had this, I'm going to call it like a buzzing throughout my system. My head felt like my face hurt. My head felt very weird and buzzy. My skin felt hot and tingly and hurt to the touch all over my body. And I was like, what is happening to me? My muscles were, you know how like when you get the flu or something and your muscles get achy like
Yeah.
that? It
Mhm.
was that times 1,000.
Mhm.
Every sensation that I could possibly feel was magnified like to the max capacity.
Yeah.
I felt like I was hooked up to an amplifier and somebody cranked it up.
Mhm.
And so I was like, what's going on here? So, this lasted for quite a while. I don't know if maybe the bodywork session just kind of tapped a little bit too deep into some somatic stuff, and that was my body's reaction, which is probably what happened. Um, but it was at that point when I decided I needed to take some stuff into my own hands. Because I had been to doctors. First of all, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia back about 9 years ago, and also clinical depression. Um, I didn't accept the fibromyalgia diagnosis from my doctor because she couldn't figure out what was going on with me. It was like, here, let's just put her under this umbrella so that we can at least give her a name for this. And I just didn't accept that. So I kind of continued on my journey. I stopped seeing my doctor, but I did take her recommendation and I did go to seek some mental health assistance, which was a really big disappointment for me. I
Mhm.
was expecting something that was going to at least kind of tap into the reason why I felt like this, because this was something that has been going on since I can remember.
Yeah.
It's like nothing happened that made me have like PTSD or anything like that to my conscious knowledge
Mhm.
at the time. Um, so it was like I just kind of felt like this doom and gloom over me all the time. And when when I started doing these therapy sessions, and it was talk therapy, when I started doing these therapy sessions with her, I almost kind of felt like like I wasn't being believed or that I was being blamed
Mhm.
for what I was experiencing.
Mhm.
Um, and so after spending money that with no results, I stopped seeing this therapist and I just kind of just kept trucking on,
Yeah.
until I had this nervous system attack a few years ago. That's when things started to shift for me. Um, while I was down and out with this severe attack, well, first of all, I was afraid to go to a doctor, okay, because I didn't want them to put me on meds. I wanted them to find out what was really the root cause of my
Yeah.
issues,
Yeah.
And so I laid in bed with my laptop and I just started Googling my symptoms. And I was like, okay, this, and that. And then I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, I wonder if like my emotional stuff is attached to my physical pain. So I Googled something along the lines of, can emotional pain create physical pain? All right. Now, mind you, I'm a massage therapist. Okay? So we're taught that from a scientific perspective, okay, there has to be some type of stimulus to create, this pain, and that how could an emotion create a pain like that, So I had to get off of all those science websites that I
Yeah.
was following because I was like, I'm telling you, this is possible. So throughout my search, I came across The Body Keeps the Score, the book The Body Keeps the Score
Mhm.
by Bessel van der Beek. Is that how you pronounce his name?
I
Bessel.
haven't read it. I've heard of it. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this was the first aha
Yeah.
that I got. It was like more of an answer for me than any doctor or therapist had
Mhm.
ever given me. So the book really just kind of dives into trauma, and it describes what trauma is and what it isn't, and how it affects us, like what it does to our brains and how it affects our nervous system and our body. And I was like, this is something, I'm onto something here. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I I got the audio book and I just would listen to it at night when I was sleeping, and I'd listen to this book like 10 times. And it became very clear to me that I was suffering from complex PTSD. Now, if you were to tell me before this that I had PTSD, I would be like, you're crazy because nothing ever happened to me, you know? Until I started writing down all of the things that happened to me in my life that I'm just going to say they really stuck deep.
Yeah.
Okay. The negative things that you would be like, like, I'll never forget that. I can remember it like it was yesterday. Okay. So I started making a list of things, and my list kept growing. And I realized that if I didn't like process that one, and then this, and this happened, where did I didn't have the capacity to cope with my emotions.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of the events that occurred were triggering for me just to think about. Now, I knew that they happened, and they happened a long time ago. Some of them 45 years ago. I'm 51 right now. Some of them even longer than that. And I knew that they happened. Um, I was consciously aware of it, but I wasn't consciously aware of the fact that I had not experienced the release of the emotions that occurred in me when those events happened. Okay. And so enter in breath work. Okay, so I'm laying in bed with all of this newfound information, but I'm still hurting.
Mhm.
Okay, I still hurt so bad I can't even get up to go to the bathroom by myself. So I Googled breath work. He must have mentioned it in maybe in his book or something. And so I found this little breath work 6-day trial thing that I signed up for. And it wasn't until I started doing the breathing exercises that my body started responding to, like, I could feel my nervous system just calming.
Mhm.
Okay, just a little bit. Just it wasn't a huge profound change, but it was like, hey, I feel a little bit better the next day. And so I did it again. And then the next day I felt even better. But it wasn't until I did that breath work that I really started to snap out of my nervous system. It was, I don't even know how to explain it. It was, like I said, like somebody plugged me into an
Yeah,
amplifier.
like a collapse or something.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like it was a crisis. It was a
Yeah.
crisis. It was a
Yeah.
crisis. So so now that I have this, I'm loaded with this little bit of information,
Yeah.
now I'm dangerous. Okay. Now I'm going after looking up trauma this and trauma that. And I found Gabor Mate. I
Yep.
studied his stuff. I started getting into Joe Dispenza and, doing the meditation work and everything like that. And I just, but still, I still couldn't pinpoint how to release. I know it's there. I'm this close. I just couldn't figure out what method would work. I've tried tapping. I've tried a thing called neuro emotional technique, NET. That actually traumatized me. um, just because there was no follow-up.
Hmm.
It was like boom, all this stuff just came out during the session, and then there was not a follow-up session or any healing behind it. It was
Right.
like kind of like open a can of worms, and that was the end of it. So that was actually super traumatizing for me.
Mhm.
So it is possible for you to be re-traumatized when you're going through different types of therapies like that, unless there's um I'm going to call it an integration process,
Yep, exactly.
and a grounding process. So that I found to be super important, especially with the root cause therapy work. And so I guess that's kind of where what my background is. So up until recently, about 2 years ago, I ran across Melissa's work,
Mhm.
Ryan and Matt and Melissa's work. And I took, I think I signed up for the trauma informed coaching certification.
Mhm.
And I really dove deep into that. And I was like, this is really good stuff. It was like, it piqued my interest.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then they had a couple of other like free little master classes and stuff that I took. And um, I also really got a lot of really good information from a guy called Tim Fletcher on YouTube, where he educates more so than any kind of like processing. It's more of like education. So I really was able to take a lot away from him, but I still didn't know how to fix myself. So I blew my shoulder out right before Thanksgiving this year, a repetitive stress injury from 14 years of massaging. And when that happened, I was like, this is it. I need to do this work because I need a backup plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the massage is my only form of income. It has been for 14 years. And so I'm like, I can't wait until my shoulder goes out again to do this. It might be too late.
Yeah.
So when Thanksgiving came around and I just had it in my cart before my shoulder went out, it was in my cart. Okay. And I waited until like Black Friday to hit the purchase
Yeah.
button. Okay. And I was off of work for several weeks. And so I just indulged myself in the learnings. And I just, it was like I wanted to get into it and start practicing right away and receiving sessions for myself too, so that I could be as healed of a being as I could be to help other people, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And so I guess that's kind of like my background story. I do feel like this work has done more for me in the past month than all of the help that I have gotten from doctors or therapists, and I'm 51 years old.
And I'm already crying because I can attest to that you are a complete different person, in my opinion. Granted, like I've never embraced you and whatever, but we've known each other for a couple months now, going on a
Yeah,
couple months. And I mean, you are a completely different person in such a short amount of time. It's mind blowing.
I feel completely transformed.
Yeah.
I do. And in my relationships, in my self confidence, in my work. And
Uh-huh.
it feels like I earned this and like I deserve this and that feels good.
Good. So I know that you and I have obviously talked about this, within our sessions and follow up during the integration phase. That is so, so important, the integration, of course. But for our listeners, like what was your experience like, during the sessions? Were there moments of, breakthrough, or what were your moments of breakthrough? What were your moments of just like, oh my gosh, like what stood out to you most within the three root cause therapy sessions that you had?
Okay. Well, I will tell you that there definitely was some resistance at first. Um, I do struggle with that when I want to meditate or do my yoga. It's like there's like some resistance there, like I might feel better. So I think that in some way, weird way, I kind of like believed that I deserved to suffer. Okay. So that if I do that and I feel better, I don't deserve to feel good, you know?
That's very
Um,
much a cycle that you,
yeah.
just you specifically, but that is very much an energetic cycle that people are get stuck into.
Yeah. So I think the biggest, most profound breakthrough that I had, it was on a physical level, first of all, um, was when I just felt this overwhelming sense of unconditional love and acceptance. And I don't know if it was like acceptance for myself or acceptance for like a creator. It almost kind of felt like I was being somebody was embracing me. Like there was an embrace and it was just so warm and loving. And I think I explained it to you during the session as it was happening
Mhm.
that I always said that I believed in something, but I never felt it.
Mhm.
Um, and this is actually something I think is deep rooted into me from like my childhood, like believing in a creator or a God. Not to get into like even religion or anything like that, but I had repeatedly been told by one of my caregivers, so like my parents, that about religion and that kind of stuff. But we didn't go to church or anything like that. So I didn't even know what like my perception of God was.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, there were a couple of times throughout my life where I kind of sought a little bit of information to see maybe that's what I need. I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, I have a couple of clients that are really religious. One is a Bible teacher, and they kind of share some things with me or send me some information, and I'm just like, thanks for that. I'll just kind of leave that here. But I always knew that there was a creator.
Mhm.
Okay. I always there has to be. In my mind, there has to be. Somebody put us here, right? Um, and I always just kind of said it like I believe in it because, well, if you don't believe in it, then what are you? Like what do they call people that don't believe in stuff? I didn't want to be labeled because that's not true. It's not like I don't believe in something. I just don't know what I believe in.
Mhm.
But during the session, I felt it for the first time. Like I felt, I don't know if you want to name it, put God as a name, like God just embracing me and like just showing me like this is how it feels.
Mhm.
And I've never felt it before. Even though I have said like, "Oh, I believe in something, I just don't know what it is." And I didn't even have to like hear anything. I knew what it was. There
Mhm.
was an automatic knowing this is what it feels like
Yeah.
to be embraced by your creator, you know?
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, no, I just like and it was just like so wow for me that I like it took me a while to kind of like comprehend what just happened.
Mhm. Mhm.
And in that moment, it almost feels like all of my stuff just like disappeared.
Yeah.
It just like went away. Like all of the things that have happened to me over my lifetime, yeah, they were really, a lot of them were pretty traumatic. Okay. But that moment made everything feel healed
Yeah.
and almost like, I don't want to use the word insignificant, but not as significant as I made it out to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, because I mean, if you want, you put any word, like as you and I are talking, and for our listeners, I mean, you put any word, any terminology that resonates with you, God, universe, source, enlightenment, what higher
Yeah.
self, any, because obviously this was your journey, Lori. And I mean, what you said, you're not putting a religion, you're not putting a spirituality label on anything. It was your experience. And those feelings that you felt, it's call it that heightened consciousness. You were feeling that
Yes.
embodiment, that inner
Yes.
peace, that baseline of vibration raising. And
Hmm.
how do you explain that?
There
It,
are no words.
and that's,
Yeah.
I mean, if I can say this too at the end of our last session. You're like, Jenna, what am I feeling right now? I'm like, I feel like you're kind of going through a little spiritual awakening, because
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
hello. And you don't have, you could say self-awakening. Again, like I don't need to put labels on it. It's
Hmm.
all the same. And this is something I talk about on the show all the time. Very paralleled. I see, so many parallels in religion and spirituality and energy and call it what you will. Okay.
Right.
It's all to the core. It's very
Yeah.
parallel.
I like
Um,
the word embodiment. It was
yeah,
like I finally, it almost feels like I just finally connect, even if it was just myself, my consciousness connecting with my body for
yeah,
the first time.
yeah, yeah.
And
Call it consciousness. Yeah.
yeah, it was just so profound. And like I said, it took me a while to understand, and I still kind of don't understand what happened, but the whatever happened has literally like changed, it's changed me.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't think it's something that is like, okay, well, kind of like a massage. Okay, well, I had a massage today in 2 weeks. Oh, I need another massage.
yeah,
It's I feel like it's healed. It's
yeah,
gone,
yeah.
you know?
Mhm. No, I do. And I mean, you coming in on session one, you were in it. Like you were in the shit. You like that session, it took over 3 hours. Like we got into a lot of depth. Okay.
I complained a lot, didn't I? Like I told you I felt like I was sitting in a therapist's office. I'm like telling you about all the crap that's happened in my life.
But that's it though. Like that's it. And that's okay. Like that's what that's for, right? It's that awareness. It's allowing it to come to surface. It is
Yeah.
allowing what needs to come to surface. So that was the first session. We went deep,
Yes.
and then the second session, I was like, you're more vibrant. You like have this glow to you. You
Mhm.
like you were talking different. You like it was a week and a half, and I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is really neat. And then the third session, you come in and it's like you had this embodiment, oneness, compassion, just this. I can't, it was like what's the word I'm looking for? Like oneness, but more so like this union of all. Like it was just, you
Yeah.
had this embodiment energy about you. And
Mhm.
it was magic. Like it was magical.
I need to share with you. I am experiencing the same things with the people that I've been
Yeah.
facilitating sessions on. They're lighter, they're like glowing, their body. I have a massage client who I've been working with. Her physical body even feels different.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's really it's really just, I don't even know how to explain it. I don't want to knock any other types of therapies or anything, but you can try all this different stuff. Like I'm sure a lot of your listeners have tried a lot of different things. I mean, like my bookshelves are full of self-help books and nothing has ever helped me
Right.
before,
Right.
you know. Um, but there's just the connection to the body is the key to this work. I really do believe.
Oh yeah.
And once we release that from our body, it's like it creates a freedom that we didn't really ever know existed before.
Yeah.
Some of the things that my clients are saying is that they don't feel as stuck.
Mhm.
They feel a sense of freedom. Um, the heaviness is gone.
Yeah.
And I feel that way too. I really do. I feel like my mental clarity is just, whew, like my head fog is like gone.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And it's because are you certified in energy healing also or no?
I am in Reiki, yes.
Okay, yeah. So I also am. And I mean, energy healing, Reiki, that's what I started in because I was
Okay.
up at 3 a.m., years ago, like, what is a spiritual awakening? Because I don't know what the hell is going on. And
Yep.
that's when it's like, you're a healer. Like I was getting all these things, and I already stepped away from the medical field. I left oncology already, and I'm just what is going on? I was just, yeah, as you know, like the can of worms is opened and I'm
Yep.
Googling, what is spiritual awakening? And I'm hearing these downloads, energy healer, energy healer. I'm like, what the hell is like, what is that? Like I had no knowledge of like, that's so woo-woo and witchy or magic, like all this stuff. And now here I am. I'm like, all the correlations. Like I say
Yep.
this all the time on the show. I'm like the queen of the cliche quotes. Like I keep a written note thing on my phone because all those cliche quotes, they hold so much power of like prayers can move mountains, spreading your light, protecting your energy. Actions speak louder than
Yeah.
words.
Yep. Yep.
Emotions are energy in motion. Like I would
Yeah.
have all these little things, like when you're little, the little things mean the most, or
Yep.
quality over quantity, like all these things that you grow up like hearing, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, like they hold, like it's so true.
Yeah.
Time is your biggest gift,
Yes.
like it's just,
Um,
I
and
digress there, but
I noticed that all of the things that I tried, I don't regret them because they led me to this work.
exactly.
Okay, so I did the EFT tapping with Gary Craig is his name, I think. He's an older gentleman. I actually did a one-on-one session, healing session with him
Oh,
back a
awesome.
few
Mhm.
years ago, and just all sorts of stuff. I did Landmark Forum. I
Mhm.
was in Landmark Forum for a lot of years, And another thing I love about this work is the space that we hold for each other to allow the healing to occur.
Yeah.
I always kind of thought that was kind of like a cliche term, like holding space for people. Um, but it really is just an opportunity for people to be their raw, authentic self and to feel those raw, authentic emotions so that they can process and do their work. And
Yeah.
so thank you, Jenna, for holding space for me so that
Mhm.
I could experience that healing.
Bless. I thank you. I mean what you just said, it hits the nail on the head. Holding space because there's no shaming, there's no judgment. And I'm not bringing in any other modality or type of treatment, but I understand what you're saying in terms of we're all different. We all go through different stuff. And if two people have the same experience, then spiderweb that out even more. Our nervous systems can be in two completely different capacity levels. One can process it in that traumatic moment, and the other one might stick and it might
Yes,
compound for the next decade or two.
yes.
So everything is completely different. And that is why it is so important to hold space, to
Hmm.
allow you to be heard, to allow you to feel valid, even if you feel like I'm not making any sense, but this is how you're feeling in this moment. Let's figure it out.
Yes. And one of the things that it took me a while to kind of figure out is I've really been on this journey by myself until
Yeah.
I came to this work. Um, I thought that I was making stuff up. I thought I was being a victim. I thought I was being dramatic, and I thought I was being just like there's something deeper wrong with me. Or why am I making such a big deal out of something that is so like little? Um, don't ever, and I just say this to anybody now, don't ever minimize your emotions. Don't
Mhm.
ever think that you shouldn't feel the way you're feeling because it wasn't a big deal to somebody else, but it could be the world for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, feel those emotions when you stuff them down. I had a boyfriend one time who used to get, like, I think a little irritated with me because I would freely talk about my emotions. And he was like, I just bury that stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, well, that's going to come back to get you someday. And, um, but I just don't ever minimize how you feel about something, no
Mhm.
matter if it's big or smaller
Yeah.
than other things. I don't want to call it small, but
Right.
maybe smaller than other things because everything is, like you said, everybody has their own stuff.
Yeah.
I might be called a name and you might be called the same name. You might laugh it off and forget about it, and it might emotionally destroy me for weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, so don't ever minimize your emotions. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And well, and that just goes to show too the importance of nervous system healing and regulation and being holding the space for your own self to be able to process in the present moment. Because the root cause therapy is processing everything that we've clung on to, from before, if you believe in past lives or not, but from,
yeah,
womb to today. And it's
yeah,
it's not work to be scared of. It's not, especially if you're listening to the show, you're obviously here, you're in it, but it's like it's nothing to be scared of. Like this is where we start to pull things out from under the rug and actually process and bring the awareness in to be able to heal and to be able to find your love for life again.
yeah.
Oh,
And I mean, I went back into past lives and into some ancestral generational healing um in the womb. I
yeah.
mean, it's not just like what happened to you when you were a kid. Some
Mhm.
of this stuff is passed down generations and generations through families, belief systems, addictions, behavioral, sometimes even health issues
Yep. Yep.
that I'm not a doctor or anything, but you got to kind of wonder if sometimes health issues that are passed down from generation to generation are more um behavioral and lifestyle type things versus actual physical
Right.
things.
Right. Yeah,
So
I mean, it's in our physical DNA. However, our
mhm,
body is created to heal itself. So
I
insert,
absolutely believe that
yeah,
100%.
yeah. I've gotten a little deep in that term of, you know, I never believe in manifesting negative things in your life. However, it's like a little caveat of that's you could stuck, things can get stuck. And then every choice we make is guiding you in your next step, right? But I
Sure,
never
sure.
believe like negatively manifesting, if that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah,
last
but you
one.
can manifest and then sabotage yourself because of your limiting beliefs.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to the trauma informed manifestation because I that's one thing I was really good at was manifesting things.
Yeah.
More so like business type stuff. Um but then I always sabotage myself.
Yeah.
So I always felt like a failure, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but now from I was manifesting from a space of being not healed.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And now I'm really excited to see what I can manifest from a healed space.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
if someone was considering root cause therapy but felt hesitant or unsure, what would you want them to know based on your experience?
I would have to say that you just have to maybe do a consultation and see if you're ready for it.
Yeah.
A lot of times people just aren't ready, and we cling on to our beliefs and our emotions for they're comfortable for us. They protect us, and um a lot of people, I wasn't ready for a really long time. I've had access to this information for a long, long time. And
Yeah.
I guess I just never maybe, believe that I deserved it. You're worth it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
I would say at least have a consultation to see where you vibrate with this work,
Yeah.
and you may be ready and you may not be ready, but at least you know that it's available to you when you are ready. And I would just say be prepared for something that you've never experienced before. The healing is profound. The shifts are almost instant. And I mean, within one session, I felt a huge difference.
Mhm.
And then I had two, and then I had three. And it just kind of compounded from there. I mean, I
Yeah.
kind of feel like at some point I'll have another session, but I don't know that it's something that I really like need to work on right now. I will say that, after doing that work, some little things kind of popped up that I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. I remember when that happened." And I've had a couple of triggers,
Mhm.
okay, but I'm able to process those triggers. They don't put me down
Mhm.
and put me into a depression or an anxiety or anything like that anymore. It's like, wow, I'm aware of them.
Yeah.
This work brings profound self-awareness.
Hmm. Beautiful, beautifully
Yeah,
said. And
yeah.
something too with that, with the integration piece, just to note, the session itself, there's so much more that goes with a soul session because there's the before, the consultation, the making sure that you're ready, and then the actual session, but then the integration comes after, and then the nurturing yourself because yes, there might be some things that come up, but they're coming up to be processed and
Yes.
healed. And it's safe. I mean, once you hold that safe container for yourself, magic can happen. And that's so beautifully said with it's a big journey of self-awareness. Thank you.
The word safe. I've had my clients, almost all of my clients have told me that they have never felt so safe.
Mhm.
They've done other things before and they've never felt so safe or so understood or so heard.
Yeah.
And trust
Mhm.
trust level is it's just there.
Mhm.
And the connection with your practitioner I think is really important too.
Yeah.
And so trust, safe, just
Yeah.
yeah,
It's led by your practitioner. However, it's a self-guided
it
journey.
is, really is.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's you and that connection. Like as you were speaking, I like felt this inner hug because it's a connection with yourself. Like you're finally listening. You're
Mhm.
finally connecting and giving yourself that opportunity to listen, release, feel heard from yourself even too. Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Lori, thank you
Um,
so much. Thanks so much
oh,
for being here and
thanks for having me.
yeah, I to our listeners, I just thank you so much for being here with us, and we are so thankful for you for holding this space, and we are sending you so much love, and I appreciate you, Lori. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenna.
Until next week, as always, simply be you. You have everything inside of you to learn your energy of alignment and be unapologetic in who you are. We're sending our love and light.
Did you find this episode freeing or empowering? Please read my review. Tickle, 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 boop.
Thank you for spending this sacred time with me on Naturally Empowered Living. If this episode brought you closer to stepping into your energy of alignment, I'd love for you to leave a written review and share how this show has supported your journey. Your feedback truly lights me up and helps others find the space of transformation. And sharing it with someone who might need it spreads the ripple of healing even further. Be sure to check the show notes for ways to connect with me and explore personalized healing sessions and mentorships to deepen your self-awakening journey. Thank you. I appreciate all you are and all you do.